everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Pull Up Tre podcast. You are joining us after the Raptors Republic party. We all watched it together. They're 1-0, undefeated at the Pint. Thank you for hosting. Thank you to so many people for coming, and they're going to get in on this. I'm Samson Folk, the co-host. This is Trevon Heath, the Tre that holds up. That was a little less than it was on take one, or take two, I'll say. Tre, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I don't think a season opener could have gone any better. They beat a team that was kind of paired up with them. The Atlanta Hawks were known as an off-season winner. They added all these great stars like Luke Kennard, and they went out and obliterated them. So it's a good sign, and it's a good test against a team that they're going to be kind of aligned with in the standing. So I'm happy, and I think they can go a lot farther than 38 wins.
Yeah. The 38 wins, or even when it came out at 32, the consensus and expectations of this team has been a moving target. Even like in the summer, people are like, there's nothing about this team. Then by preseason, people like this team. And then preseason, they look underwhelming in some sense. And now we're here. Mm-hmm. They beat the brakes off the Atlanta Hawks, as you said, like a colleague in the middle of the Eastern Conference, perhaps. It's not going to define the season, this game, but it's a hell of a start. And if you're just going based off of vibes and how strong this team looked, this looks more like the team that could punch up at top four than the Atlanta Hawks, which were kind of sold as that over the summer. The great winners of the offseason. As you said 3 times, this take 3. Tre, I've been talking so much. I talked with Will. The defining moments of this game that you think matter for the season, whether it's Scottie, RJ, whatever the hell. How do you feel about it?
I think overall, like from a team perspective, it's their defense. They've achieved what they set out to do from Summer League to Game 1. They want to be an aggressive defense that picks up high, that tries to get the ball out of the opposing guard's hand. And you saw that from the minute the season started, that Trae Young saw 2 bodies at all times. And that did lead to Jalen Johnson having easier looks in the rim and having a great game. But it put so much onus on other guys having to create that allowed the Raptors defense to get going, allowed their transition game to get going, and put them in less half-court situations. And that's what they want to achieve, and that's how you stack up regular season wins.
Yeah. By the way, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hype. It helps everything out. And also, I will say, we're giving away a free Brandon Ingram jersey. You can win it. Go to my Twitter. I'll be retweeting it at the time that this comes out. You just enter, basically you subscribe to this podcast, and you comment on Spotify, you subscribe there, and you show proof, and then you could win a Brandon Ingram jersey, a free one for you. All this stuff. The best thing about what you said, the Raptors' defensive identity, and something that I really enjoy, is that they were doing the press, but the press and release once they got what they wanted. With some teams, what you want to do is you want to press and blitz to try and create turnovers if they have weaker ball handlers. With this team, they just want to overwhelm, get the ball out of Tre's hands, and then have them bring the ball up and have them start their offense somewhere else. They didn't oversell it. Some teams, they might. I want that. That aggression, yes, but also that adaptability. The defense, it looked strong. I mean, we're going to talk about how the Hawks look terrible defensively, but this team's supposed to be good on offense. And the Raptors, I know they finished at 118, but the pace was super high in this game. They scored a lot of that late. I think defensively they handled a team that has a fair bit of offensive talent. Jalen Johnson, as you said, played awesome. Trae Young, underwhelming, but he was the game plan. Kristaps wasn't even that bad. Nickeil Alexander, he had to create.
He did.
Nickeil Alexander-Walker had to create. It didn't go well at all. Offensively, though, the Raptors looked a lot better than I would have guessed in Game 1.
100%.
The biggest motivator for that, what do you think it was?
I think it's their hierarchy on offense. Brandon Ingram wasn't their leading scorer in the game, but he put everyone in positions where they can play towards their strengths. And as you've mentioned, as we've mentioned a million times over the last year, in terms of live dribble creation, the Raptors are the worst team in the NBA. And having a creator that can create from nothing like Brandon Ingram allows Scottie to play in between, set early seal outs, be able to run the floor, connect within the middle of the floor. IQ can be this off-ball threat that comes off screens, can attack closeouts just like he did in New York. And then RJ
can I give you the stat line for RJ, by the way? 25 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists on 12 shots. That's 5 of 5 from the line as well.
Killer. And he did all that within like the flow of the offense, whether that's being a spot up shooter, being an active cutter, getting second side actions off of what Brandon Ingram is already doing, and doing it in such an efficient manner. Like, he was put in a position last season where he was asked to take a lot of pull up jumpers, run tons of pick and roll because the Raptors had no other option. He was their best option in terms of getting into the paint. And now he's put in a situation where he's seeing easier looks, can make better reads, and is just like all three of those guys in that barbecue lineup, in the best position for them to provide efficient offense, which is great to see.
We knew RJ was going to do this.
Yes.
The thing that makes RJ maybe perhaps ill-fitting in the basketball philosophy of this team is that they don't have a guy like Andrew Nembhard next to him. They have Emmanuel Quickley. Yes. And this team is looking for so much pressure from their backcourt, and RJ doesn't fit that perfectly. But doubting his offense, given the way he's adapted and shown that he's willing to, I think is maybe not silly because anyone can think anything. It's basketball. It doesn't matter. But he's shown so much so that people should be confident in his ability to adapt and his ability to succeed. His job got so much easier with the arrival of Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram and everyone down the lineup, the coaching staff, they know that the ball is going to find RJ. If he's going to shoot, and he's a 38% catch and shoot three-point shooter as a Raptor, that's actually one of the better numbers on the team, which you wouldn't think the way it gets talked about. And it's not like they're all easy either. He's perfectly fine taking catch and shoot three-point shots. Yep. He's very good attacking closeouts and making progressive reads. And in a pinch, they run a pick and roll between he and Jakob Poeltl, he and whomever else, and he's able to play make out of it. He was note perfect tonight, and his help side defense was better. He was more present in the lanes. He was more present in passing lanes. He was more present as a rotator at the rim, and he was scram switching guys out. Effort was there, performance was there, efficiency was there. I thought it was great.
I think, especially from RJ's perspective, he's going to get opportunity with those hybrid lineups on the bench, where he's still going to get opportunities to expand his skills and see what he can do as an overall creator. I think the beautiful thing of what they have now is that that's going to happen in like finite minutes, where each of these guys are going to get those opportunities, and that will allow them to expand their skills, get the necessary reps, because they're going to need that later in the season, and still have a guy, whenever they needed a basket tonight, they went to Ingram. He was able to find a shot, whether that's in the mid-range, get to the rim, or able to create rotations and flip the side of the court and lead to open threes. So they've given all of their guys a role that they can exceed at and excel at, and allow the overall offense from half-court perspective to improve far greater than what they had last year.
Yeah. Role definition is a very important part of every successful team. The Raptors didn't have the benefit of so many good players, and they had too many injuries. They didn't have the luxury of role definition, and they still had to know what they were looking at. This year, maybe the strongest reason to believe in this team going forward is the pinball machine that's next to us, yes, but also the role definition. For audio listeners, we are next to a big, glowing, luminescent pinball machine, which looks great. Yep. Scottie Barnes, he kind of connects everything, which is what makes him so interesting, because in the preseason, he had a tough time finding his moments, his spot.
Tough as an undersell.
It was an undersell. It was tough. In this game, he's setting screens. Yes. He's the connecting piece in the short roll. He's the connecting piece halfway up the court on outlet passes. He is the one mending their transition offense and defense together. He's the one mending each half of the floor together in the half court. What did you make of Scottie, who, for the record, listeners, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, 9 of 14 shooting, and a +9, and 3 stocks? Is this good to you? Is this great?
In terms of process, this is one of the best games he's had in probably.
Can this stat line get him an All-NBA third team?
Yes, it can. Yes, it can. From a process perspective, you saw everything that you wanted to see. He wasn't bailing out the defense with mid-range shots and three-point shots. He was in the middle of the floor, putting pressure on the defense, being an active playmaker. The dump off to Jakob Poeltl is exactly what you want to see from him in those situations. Last year, that probably is like a 8-foot mid-range jumper.
Maybe even a gather, a pump, push, and a fader. Yeah,
it's not what you want to see. His strength is being inside, using his force and using his physicality to create space and create gravity for other people. And he did that, especially with his effort. Whenever they got a rebound, he was the first person down the floor, getting a hit ahead or being the passer in those situations. And if he gets one-on-one situations where he is getting the hit ahead, the defense isn't set, he can attack those over and over again. Pascal Siakam does it a ton for the Indiana Pacers. He can do those exact same things, and that can help him sleepwalk to 20 points a game at a more efficient rate. The defense is always going to be there. He can play it at all defensive level. If he's able to give them efficient offense while doing that, that's where you are an all-NBA player. You live up to that max contract, and he can be a player that they build around for years to come.
Yep. Displaying the floor of your game is so important. Yeah. It's what we said in the first take of this podcast, man. It's I made the reference to Donovan Mitchell and Draymond Green. These are two guys who have been stars, all NBA players consistently throughout their careers. Draymond not anymore, but you get the point. Yeah. They do it very differently, and the floors of their games look very different, but those things are what they bring every single game. Scottie is a guy who's tried so many different things in his career. He's been asked to step outside of his comfort zones. His weaknesses have become comfort zones. Yep. He's been a Rookie of the Year. He was a third-year All-Star. It looked like the world was in his hands, and it's just nothing role definition for Scottie to establish his floor. This game, it was an easier one because the Hawks, they don't have that really impressive defense to make the Raptors squirm, but he showed a floor against an easy team, 22, 6, and 9, 9 of 14 from the floor. He was so good. And defensively, I mean, he's the best player on the floor between both teams. Yes. That'll be the case in quite a few games this year. Yeah. Establishing that floor so that even when he's using these guard screens where Gradey Dick and Emmanuel Quickley are sprinting into space and he's able to play make, or when teams erroneously play drop defense and he's able to waltz into the paint as a pick and roll ball handler, that is ceiling. Mm-hmm. This is floor. Yes. And this is a damn good floor. It's why anybody would bet on Scottie Barnes, is to think that the 52% true shooting, that everything is a mid-range jumper, the mid-range jumpers in transition, like to think that was what was going to stay in his game was cynical, and it was pessimistic. Yeah. And that stuff will still be present sometimes, but this was floor. This makes me feel really optimistic, and he can build from here. I loved it, man.
I loved everything that happened.
I want him on Team Jamaica.
2028,
if he plays like this, he's on USA. Do you have a problem with that?
If Scottie Barnes is on Team USA, he will not have a fan in me.
Oh, man. Okay, we're going to talk about Gradey, and then we're going to take a couple questions from the audience. Yeah. You guys will come sit with us. We'll chat about it. Adam, you look very energetic. I want one from you. Gradey Dick. This is also a very pro Gradey Dick podcast. Yes. Make sure, everybody, go watch. That's right, G-Man. Make sure to go watch my interview with Gradey Dick. We sat down and chopped it up for a little while. Okay, 21 points, 5 rebounds. I think 2 or 3 of them were offensive rebounds. I guess just 1. That's my bad. Anyway, he was 6 of 10 from the floor, 7 of 8 from the free throw line, 2 of 4 from downtown. Some of it in really tight, confined spaces. Mm-hmm. A lot of it preceding or afterwards a jiu-jitsu match with somebody, trying to get loose. And the Atlanta Hawks defense, as much as they didn't pay attention to a lot,
thank you, Trae Young.
Yeah,
please,
they've paid attention to him. And Gradey was so good at scoring the ball, but also being a screener to get Trae Young onto other people. Gradey Dick, this is a very pro Gradey podcast. How do you feel?
Finally. Finally. He matched our words.
Untouchable? Is he?
Oh, the untouchable runs back.
It's only the first game of this season.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Gradey showed tonight why he's so important for the team, especially in the half court. You saw in lineups where Ingram isn't on the court. You saw why the Raptors sucked last season, because they have a hard time creating paint touches and using their live dribble to get rotations. When they have Gradey on the court, they're able to run actions for him. He can run off staggers. He can come and curl off screens and be an additional second side creator for them. He hits tough mid-range jumpers, and he's able to get his shots off in ways that other shooters like Jacoby, Ochai, RJ just aren't able to do. And it allows their offense to have a second side option that is able to put gravity and put pressure on defenses in a way that no one else on the roster can.
Yep.
And the beautiful thing is that was also mixed with having spot-up touches. He didn't get a lot of spot-up touches because they couldn't get in the paint. They couldn't create rotation. They sucked last season. And you mix those easy shots and easy spot-up opportunities with some of the things that make him special. That's how he gets to an efficient 21 points a game. And he's going to be able to close a lot of games simply because he's going to be their second or third best option of creating an easy basket.
I'll be honest, I'd be surprised if he closes a lot of games. Just like you look at their starting
Their
five.
defense is tough with IQ.
But also, it's money matters with these guys. Like, there's a lot of there's salaries.
I come from the school of Moneyball.
Oh,
It doesn't matter.
The greatest compliment that I can pay Grady Dick, outside of 21 points on extremely efficient shooting, outside of it's very clear that the defense cares about him, which is a great indicator in the NBA. Yeah. He runs the same actions. There's two guys who have this playbook in the Raptors offense, Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick. Nobody else runs these plays because one of them is usually on the floor at once. And if they're not on the floor, those plays aren't in the playbook. And it's because Grady Dick and Brandon Ingram, for all the holes in Grady's game as a young man, he can shoot off a pin, he can turn it downhill, and he can make a progressive read out of it. And his aggressiveness in that role makes him a guy who can act as a facsimile of Brandon Ingram. I'm not saying he's Brandon Ingram, but they just run the same plays because Grady can do stuff. Curl actions and pin downs, exactly. Grady, I thought, and on defense, he hung in. There's a couple press possessions. Did
any of us say Grady Dick 6th man of the year?
S said Grady Dick 6th man of the year.
You're looking good on first day.
If he scores 21 a game on 10 shots.
I would hope he'd win, yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. I need Mike Brown last year. I sat across from him and I asked him about Grady, and Mike Brown threw his hat on the table. He said, "Hey, listen, that's the most improved player of the year right there." It's a bit premature, but it was some needed gas.
Yes.
I need the New York Knicks to come to Toronto, or I need to be sent there to go ask Mike Brown about Grady Dick and 6th man of the year. He was phenomenal. Is there anybody else on here? We've kind of brought up Brandon repeatedly. Is there anybody in the audience who has a question about Jamal Shed, because he deserves to be talked about? Is anybody wondering anything? And well, if anybody thinks about something, or if you have any question at all, I'll just keep talking. The no look. Okay, so it's a tremendous play where Jamal Shed, he snakes middle. He does a no look bounce pass off his hip to Jakob Poeltl for a dunk. The most impressive thing about Jamal Shed, obviously, in this game was his ability to stay connected. I don't like the grifting he does on screens because a lot of times he's not connected. Yeah. And that's why he's selling out for that. But he wasn't even in a position to do that a lot of times this game because he was just on his guy's hip. He was always present. And I thought he was about as good as a bench guard could be.
Yeah. He was fantastic. Like, defensively, like, he fits exactly what they're looking for. From when you transition from Emmanuel Quickly to Jamal Shed, you're getting the same type of tenacity on defense that bothered Trae Young, that the same Andrew Nembhard way of going about defense where you're just being a pest and you're picking up high, you're allowing Trae to get out of place. And thankfully for us, he does not move off the ball a ton.
Can I give you a fun Andrew Nembhard tidbit?
Of course.
The reason why the Pacers don't go under screens, Andrew Nembhard doesn't want to. Andrew Nembhard won't go under screens even in the backcourt because he doesn't want to, because he's like, no, I want to stay connected. I want to be on that guy's ass. And if the Raptors have guys who can emulate that and provide that, which they don't, but hey, listen, we all fall short. We all try. I thought he was great tonight. And also, like, the pick and roll playmaking was nice. I thought he hit a 3 early. That stuff is great. I didn't expect him to factor into this game very much, but 19 minutes, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. I'm happy as I clam about that, dude.
Yeah, if he does this the whole season, the 40-something pick is a breeze for what he's doing.
You look up and down this stat sheet. If everybody does any of this, you know what I mean?
We got the best game from every single player.
I think the only guys who underwhelmed statistically are IQ and
Ochai,
Brandon.
maybe.
Ochai, Ochai, you know what? 4 points on 5 shots is not his greatest. He was like a 60% true shooting guy last year, but his defense was good.
Yeah,
and he always
especially
makes
as a helper.
He always makes the extra pass as well. Is there anything else? And we don't have to go as long on this one because we're doing 2 episodes a week now. You can expect it. I know a lot of people were telling me like they really look forward to Thursdays. You can keep looking forward to Thursdays, of course, but you can also look forward to Tuesday drops. A little bit shorter episodes on average, though, but it means we'll be hitting you with more on-topic stuff. Like Wednesday nights, we're recording so that you have us fresh for the next day to hear about a game. This one was unbelievable. Do you have any final thoughts?
I really liked what I saw from Jonathan Mobo. Like the defense has obviously always been really high level, but I think what was super interesting to see, and I know you and Will discuss this in your reaction pod, but I've always wondered how they were going to play without Jakob, and if Mamu was going to be the big that guards the opposing 5. I didn't think that was necessarily possible. I don't think the Raptors do either. And they put Scottie or Mobo on the opposing big, and he was in Porzingis' ass every single possession.
Yeah, he was.
He was.
And he's a great defender.
His defense was tremendous. He was able to switch on to Tre, switch on to Jalen Johnson. And although him and CMB are still going to be probably fighting for that position and role, it's a testament to how much depth the Raptors have. And they played 12 guys, and 2 guys that are going to be in the rotation didn't play. So Jonathan Mobo, if he's able to add finishing to that and make that more consistent, he's going to be a guy that wins NBA minutes and is going to be hard to keep off the floor. The Raptors may have too many good players.
I have one thing to say.
Yeah, what's...
The Raptors, instead of the chain, which they, by the way, are giving out a new chain.
Okay.
To RJ, they also
Deserved.
have a Cobra staff that they're giving out.
A Cobra staff.
So what does the Cobra mean?
Okay.
Cobra is the guy who changed the game. Look at this. Look at the staff.
Okay.
As you can see.
A Cobra staff for the game changer, and the chain for the ultimate, the guy who is
the player of
the
the
best
game.
player.
So the chain went to RJ, and Cobra went to Ochai.
The Cobra went to Ochai. Okay. Hell yeah.
Is this plus minus the highest or something?
Yeah, I don't know. Was it? What? No, it was Sandro. Sandro's was plus 21.
Oh, you lied to me.
And Grady's was
Third
better
time today.
too. Yeah. Oh, S has been lying to us, listeners. You don't even know. You don't know the half of it. It's every time I go like this to Tre, it's because I'm trying to wake him up, get that energy going. Do we have, and we can edit around this, does anybody want to ask a question, or does anybody have any take they'd like to give after this game? The mic is open to come sit down and let us know. You take the mic. It's your rodeo. What's your opinion after the first game of the season?
All right, so we'll saddle up at the rodeo here. Yep. All right, so we saw Mobo with energy. We saw Shed with competence. We saw up and down the roster, all these players doing what we would hope from them. Almost nobody disappointed us. Nobody truly disappointed us. Almost nobody even kind of underwhelmed a little bit. It was kind of the perfect win you want on opening night. We feel incredible even hours later after multiple attempts to record. the troopers stuck it out for. But if you recall, both of you, 2 years ago, we felt very, very similar to this.
Yes.
Seeing FIBA Dennis Schroeder, seeing the actual NBA player in McDaniels, and various such mirages as this. So we've had a few hours to think about it. How do you guys feel about, there were no minuses in this game, but what still kind of sticks at you or digs at you in terms of this may not be sustainable, or this could still go wrong, or this is how we look when we're in sync, but what happens when we're out of sync? What still gnaws at you, particularly after being troubled by some of the events of the preseason?
Okay. So the big thing is that the Atlanta Hawks defense did look really, really bad.
Correct. Yep.
And
Awful.
The Raptors are a team that still in this game succeeded with off-ball possessions. That's how they leveraged a lot of their advantages and transition. I do wonder when there's a better defense, when push comes to shove about live dribble creation, if the Raptors might have a lot of trouble. And that's going to slow the game down. That's going to make it harder to defend. Those things compound. And then on top of that, I just think, their half-court offense wasn't even that good in this game. But then again, like IQ could just shoot better. Guys can play better. But that would be the sticking point for me. Is that what sticks for you as well? Also, listen, Dennis Schroeder has tricked many people in his life. He's made a lot of money doing so. And that team had more internal pressure.
A lot of doom and gloom. A man lost his will to play basketball.
Dude, that media day was the one where it was like the selfish thing was going around. And Pascal came out and was like, yo, what is going on, man? So there's not as much like doom and gloom, as you said.
Yeah. The half-court offense, I think, is obviously a concern because the Raptors intentionally, and I think they know this, are trying to minimize as many half-court possessions as possible, which is why their pace was so fast, why they're doing so many head-to-heads and trying to get Scottie downhill. I think another thing that you obviously want to see, and the Bucks will be a really good test of that, is how they deal with size, especially with bigs. Porzingis, and I'm not here to be mean on take three, isn't the largest man. And the Raptors are able to get away with some smaller lineups where you have Scottie guarding the opposing big. Mobo getting opportunities of that as well.
Even RJ.
Yeah,
RJ was in on their bigs, yep.
But Giannis is going to be there on Friday. How do they survive those minutes without Jakob Poeltl and be able to defend Miles Turner, be able to defend Giannis Antetokounmpo, and be able to see if they can keep those lineups moving, or is that just a situation where it's matchup dependent?
Yeah. Cam, before we get you out of here and get someone else to ask a question, I want to take from you a hot take. It doesn't have to be hot. Just tell us what you think about something.
About something relative to the Raptors, I'm assuming. I think that we are seeing, it's no secret in the NBA post these finals, an emphasis on pace, an emphasis on depth. I think the Raptors have in many cases been right early on their vision of where the NBA is going, but haven't always had the execution or the personnel to deliver on that. We may, as bad of luck as we have had in many areas, including center health and obeyance of U.S. federal law and that kind of thing in one case, famously, as much as we've had bad luck sometimes in not getting the timing right of when the Raptors front office and coaching staff's vision of what will work in the NBA, that hasn't always lined up. We may be looking at a season where that does line up because we're going into this season with hitting on a bunch of draft picks the previous year. We have incredible depth, we hope. Even if it's not, great players, it's certainly rotation caliber players, as we've seen last year, we've seen in Summer League, we're continuing to see on this opening night. So I think that there is potential for the Raptors to catch the wave of pace, of depth, and of terroristic behavior on the defensive end, where you can only really do it when you have the legs, because ultimately what went wrong in large part in the Pascal, Fred, Vision 6-9 era was we did not have the horses, we did not have the legs, we did not have the depth to play that style of basketball. And this time, we may actually have that.
Hell yeah. Cam, a firm shake, brother. A firm shake. Does anybody else have a take for us? We have an RR contributor here coming up.
My name is Camden McMillan, and wrote a couple articles now for Raptors Republic, all thanks to this guy right here.
Thanks to you.
Well, but you put me in the connections, got me on there. So, I appreciate that. I think at this point the bench is my biggest focus right now. Right at my newest article is about that. So I guess it's not a question, but I think that this bench could be top 5 in bench points per game this year. If you think about it, Mamu is going to put up, 10 points a night, maybe hit a couple threes, couple rolls to the rim. Shed was really incredible tonight. If Grady Dick performs like he did tonight, then they can do it all. Their defense is going to be their hallmark, but offensively, I think that they're going to be a lot better than people expect.
Is there anything that you think is fool's gold, or does that all look real to you? What happened tonight?
We saw last year with Grady Dick that there are times where when he's getting downhill and finishing well, it's really a game changer for him. But he didn't finish well all that often last season, right? He had struggles at the rim. So if he continues to have those struggles this year, which again right now it's looking like it's going to be excellent, but he continues to have those struggles, then it couldn't, could fall off a cliff a little bit. Be interesting to see how they add CMB and Jacoby in there. Jacoby is one I'm really curious about this year. I have no idea how they're going to fit him in, right? He had a good rookie season. He wasn't like great at anything last year, but he was solid. So I'd like to see, I don't know, what are your thoughts on Jacoby this season?
I mean, Tre's the big, he took the spot of the Jacoby backing, so go ahead.
Yeah, I'm super bullish on him. I think he's going to be one of those guys similar to Jamal that get asked to defend the best point guard every single night, and he's going to earn minutes dependent on how often he hits threes. When he's hitting threes, similar to the second half of last season, he was able to get minutes in the rotation and play a ton. Because his defense is great, he's a really good cutter as well. And he's also a guy that, to his credit, that can fit within any lineup simply because he isn't asked to take on tons of usage, similar to Ochai. He can fit in any lineup and do exactly what Darko is asking out of his wings. So I think the good thing about this Raptors season is that there's tons of guys that are going to be fighting for minutes. And I think there's going to be different stretches of the season where the rotation looks different depending on who plays well.
Thank you so much. Thank you, brother, for coming on. Thank you to everybody who stayed. Unbelievable.
You guys are amazing.
It's really late. We had to do a couple takes of this. We appreciate you so much. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. This is Tre. I'm Samson. This is the Pint. Thank you to them for hosting and everybody for coming out. We'll catch you in a few days. Thank you very much for tuning in. And whether you got into this in the morning or at night, have a blessed day and goodbye. Dude, listen, man.